Hi everyone, we got here a couple of VEF Spidola radios. These were produced in Riga, Latvia in the former USSR between about 1962 and 1965, and they were quite heavily imported into the UK and other European countries. I think mainly the UK. I don't remember seeing many from French sources, although I have seen a set that's got French instructions on the inside. The VEF factory in Riga was a huge concern. I believe they were employing about 20,000 people at one time. There is an excellent website, it's in Latvian and English, where you can quickly look up the history of the VEF operation. I believe they're still making electrical appliances or something like that today, though not in the same volumes. I've got the schematic for these. It's in Russian, it's very small. I have to be honest, I couldn't even work out where the batteries went at first. I think these symbols here, they are the batteries, I believe. I could be wrong. I've been searching this for ages and couldn't exactly see them. Anyway, this set I've had for some time, works perfectly, very receptive. The sets are quite well featured. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Wavebands on them. They're a 10 transistor set. You may have seen another model which is in a more modern squarish case called a VEF Transistor 10. It's basically the same chassis. As I say, they're quite well featured. They've got an RF amp inside them. They've got quite a huge telescopic aerial inside. They were sold very cheaply over here. Actually, there were several sort of import type firms who offered these, and in fact this one you'll notice is called a Convair one, and Convair Electronics operated out of Hatton Garden in London, and Hatton Garden is known as like the jewellery centre of Britain really now. So no one knows much about Convair, but they must have got VEF to make a little badge and just stick them on, because essentially it's the same radio really, though there's some slight differences which I'll show you now. So the Convair has got a plain back and the badge is missing on the back here. That would have said made in USSR, whereas the VEF Transistor, which I think is the older of the two, has got a louvered back, and made in USSR is actually moulded into the cabinet. These connections at the back are for a power socket, an aerial and earth, and I don't know what. Oh, sorry, it's got two aerial stages, so like a local and a distant coil, I guess, on the end of each. But and you can also put an extension speaker on. Don't know why you would, but there we go. They're a rotary turret type tuner. Who doesn't like a nice rotary turret tuner? Now, as I mentioned, this one I picked up the other day, yesterday in fact, and I'm not sure. I was told it doesn't work, and obviously we need to put some batteries in it to find out if that's true. So I'll move my mint one out of the way, and we'll open the back of this one up. And these are very interesting design inside, very interesting for the state of consumer goods at the time. They've got like a one-piece plastic moulded chassis, which is quite, if you like, a work of art as regards to injection moulding. Right, the batteries go in here, these two Paxolin or phenolic resin impregnated paper. The batteries go in here. This one's had some battery damage to it, and it's missing a screw here, look, which I'll need to replace. As you can see, there's the turret tuner. It's all oh, this one's worse. And look, the the screw that should go in here, as the stud's broken off inside, so I'll need to try and get that out before I can put a new screw to tension up this box correctly. Right, let's grab a few batteries. I need 6 batteries, and they go in like this. Like that. One lot, and then 1, 2, 3. Right, let's hope there's enough tension on this one. Now, these are great little radios, very sensitive normally, or my other one is anyway. Didn't need to align it or do anything like that, it just worked after a little bit of fiddling with a broken wire and a dodgy volume pot. So let's see what this one does. It may only need a quick clean of the switchery. These contacts on the turret tune, I'll just finish this off and I'll show you. The contacts which I'm sure you've seen in my videos before on the Vega Salinas. These contacts here, these little brass pins, I'll just zoom in a little bit. There we go. These little brass pins here, I get, you can see here, very tarnished. Hopefully by cleaning those, if it doesn't work, that might bring it to life, but who knows, it could be anything really. So let's switch it on. Now the volume controls can be a bit temperamental. Sometimes you need to turn it on and then bring them back against the indent to power the amp on. Let's zoom out again. Right, here goes. Right, the amp's working. You can hear it hissing. Oh, that sounds fun. But medium wave, it's not working, although the amp is. Nice straight aerial on it. Nothing. Well, this is going to be fun. Let's get the chassis out. I was hoping this was just going to work actually, but there we go. As usual, this has got to come out, and that has never come out before. Let's try and rotate it off. It is actually coming, I think. Brute force. Let's get in a better position here. Try and pull this off. No. The screws all the way out. There we go. Alright. Alright, that's the grub, screw that on the floor. Now there's 4 screws from memory. Yeah, one there. I'll just let these fall. One, 2. This is always fun trying that longer screwdriver. 2, 3. Now, that, as I said, the chassis on these is just, it's almost a masterpiece of moulding. And with any luck, you might actually see it in a minute. And if I remember rightly, that's it, that top of that aerial cap has to come off. Let's get rid of that one, and one more here. Right, yeah, so it's loose, and this aerial cap has to come off. And it should unscrew. Let me just stop the video a minute, and I'll get some pliers or something and try and remove that bit. Well, that was fairly easy, just removing that. I just got a pair of pliers and wrapped a little bit of cloth in between so they didn't mar the chrome finish, and the top came off, and now that aerial is pushed all the way down till it clears the little hole. So, and now this should remove. Yeah, that's it. That should come out. There we go. Right. Now, let's show you the inside of the cabinet first. Here's the inside, and as you can see, they've melted with a soldering iron, because you can see like the chisel tip. So there must have been some sort of plastic extrude. Sorry, I was there. They must have melted here. Look, there's plastic extrusions all the way around, and they've melted melted the little studs in to hold everything in. Crude, but effective. Now, this is the bit that I like. It's the chassis. Look at that. Tiny little speaker, and it's just like a one-piece moulding, and everything bolts onto it. Quite clever. Let's give you a little zoom in on that. You've got the tuning pulley here. Tuning capacitor's actually behind that. And you've got all the battery holder, the dial is a rotary dial. That's turns that around. Volume, aerial that I just pulled out. Clever, isn't it? Very simple. Must have taken a hell of a time to tool all this up, but yeah. Speaker, very interesting. And the same bloke who designed this evidently designed all the Riga stereograms and things. But it's got just this single PCB board, which it looks like I might remove. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you this. It's got some contacts here. Now whether I need to clean those out, but I'll give it a clean and we'll see what happens. Sure, you don't want to watch me clean it. It's just Servosol and a rag on this turret tuner, and hopefully that might bring it back to life. If not, more fault finding will continue. Right, here we are. I've cleaned all the contacts. Just use Servosol 10 and a rag and just, cleaned them up. Unfortunately, it's still not working, so I really need to take the PCB out and try and clean there's like spring fingers, a row of spring fingers to match these. I don't expect they're the cause of the trouble. I think it's probably deeper than that now. But one thing I need to do before I go any further is try and replace this stud here, because this isn't holding the batteries in very well and I keep losing power. So I'm going to do that and come back and see what happens then. Quite interesting. I'll show you. It's got these top hat transistors in. I think these must be the audio amp. 2 audio transformers in there, and there's the big capacitors for the audio amp there. Quite interesting. These are actually socketed, so I might remove those. I've heard that these can get a little bit tarnished, so I might carefully pull these out and try and reseat them and see what that does. If not, to check for dry joints and stuff. It's quite heavy radio actually. Well, it is with the batteries in as well, but yeah, quite interesting. There's more views of that big old turret tuner. Right, I'm going to get on with that and see if I can extract that. There you can, it just dies, but I'm not getting any stations either. Right, I'm sure if you've ever worked on cars in your youth, you know what or motorbikes, you'll know what a pain in the arse trying to remove a broken bolt is. Right, and I'll take the opportunity to clean all this out as well. It looks rather horrible. The same in the back, there's the back cover with the battery instructions. You could also use 2 4.55 volt torch lamps in this as well, evidently, though they're not mentioned on this set of instructions as they are in my other ones. And this captive screw bolt thing here is looking a bit worse for wear. That will need cleaning up as well. Right, I'll get on with all this and come back with another video probably. Right, it's Sunday morning here. I cleaned the switches the other day, and or in the other video which I filmed the other day, and removed this plate, cleaned the switches, and it still wasn't working. So I thought, oh, you know, just leave it for now and then come back in the morning. So this morning I switched it on, still wasn't working of course, but it seemed a bit more receptive to movement on the long waveband. If I did this and moved the set sort of right against the stops here, I could hear some crackling and hissing. I tried to tune it, nothing was happening, and then spun the rotary controls a few times, and lo and behold, so luckily for me, I think it was these spring fingers that probably needed the dial rotating a few times just to clean them off. I thought I cleaned them quite well. So anyway, it's working working on all wavebands. That's I think on 13 meters. Let's plug a external area in, and there's something there faintly in the background. And I noticed the tuning capacitor, when it gets to here, the plates actually contact. It's a pretty unmistakable sound. Oh, wrong way. There you go. So yeah, quite happy that it's, well, it seems to be working on all wavebands. I think that might be the battery. Right, so yeah, quite happy it's working on all wavebands. I was going to show you the PCB, wasn't I? I still find this design quite remarkable actually. Just the way this string goes through the cutout, sorry, the dial cord goes in front of the cutout in the speaker mounting here. Just very clever. Right, let's have a quick look at the PCB. I'll see if I can do this. I'll bring it up to the camera. Right, so if I take a battery out in case I trash the PCB. So there's the PCB. Actually, when I measured the voltage on these transistors, this one, if you pull the transistor out, there's 5 volts, or 5 plus volts on one of the pins here. You put the transistor back in and there's hardly any volts on there, 0.84 or something. So I've cleaned the legs, I've scraped the legs with a scalpel blade just to get the corrosion off. Tried to clean these sockets, but I don't know, the transistor itself tests absolutely fine. It's a germanium PNP. Tests on my tester absolutely fine, so I don't know what that's actually doing. But quite interesting. This radio actually dates from 1965. There's year stamps or month and year stamps on some of the capacitors in here. So yeah, I noticed this one's covered by a plastic sheath here. I think these two must be the output transistors. I haven't really looked into it. Some of the transistors are exactly the same, so I haven't traced out the schematic to this yet. So yeah, and then notice the huge great magnet on this tiny little speaker here. So I'll need to do something with one of these capacitor plates, which is meshing, or sorry, they always mesh. It's actually touching another plate when it moves. This tube here, you can see that tube there, that is the tube that holds the aerial, which doesn't make contact. Be careful not to stick my finger through the speaker. You can see there's a little, I'll move this up, there's a little bar there, and that slides up and contacts the top, so it doesn't really do anything until the aerial's fully out. And the aerial's not in circuit on medium wave or long wave. That depends on the ferrite rod there. Which is funny, my other Spidola, the aerial's actually mounted up here. And I'm going to open that one in a minute and just check the dates to see which one's the earlier. I'm pretty sure the one on the floor is the earlier one. But yeah, so quite happy about that. I am going to go through and just align it, because medium wave doesn't seem that receptive actually. And I'm going to take this plate off again and make sure these little springy fingers are quite clean inside. So there we go. That's another look at the Spidola. Let's have a zoom in. So what I'm going to do next is clean all this battery leakage residue off. I tried it with a bit of lighter fluid. It made a bit of difference, but I think that was just natural surface dirt rather than getting the contents of the batteries off here. So I don't know what I'm going to try to get that off, all these stains off. But I'm sure in the next video this will all be nice and shiny. There's a few little things to do on the case. I'm going to give it a polish up and get rid of all this rust. I don't know if you can see that. Right, get rid of all the rust on these bolts from the battery leakage and see how it comes up from there. It's missing trim from one of the handles. Oops, that didn't help very much. Right, so yeah, pleased it's actually working. But as I say, I don't think medium wave is that receptive. It's picking up the stronger stations, Absolute Radio and the two BBC 5 live stations, which are always fairly strong, and it's picking up BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, which is my local station. But yeah, quite happy overall. Thanks for watching.